Let's just get right into it. We are back, folks. Welcome to the Ready, Set, Blow podcast, episode 307. Brian Glowacki. I had to call an emergency board meeting of the Ready, Set, Blow podcast because
yes,
it snuck up on me. You got the big show coming up this weekend, huh? The Wilbur?
Yeah, Saturday night. Can't wait.
Are you amped for that? You must be.
Yeah, dude.
How did that come together?
I didn't realize we're drinking on the job.
I'll tell you why I have a big glass of tequila in a minute. I want to know. I want to know about how the Wilbur came around first.
Oh,
we'll get to that.
That's just the Wilbur's basically just me biting off more than I can chew, as always. But
are you straight forwarding it? Are you doing it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, not allowed to discuss the details of the deal, but
okay.
Yeah, I mean, the risk is on me, but thank God we sold a ton of tickets already, so which is crazy. I don't know if I honestly thought that we'd sell over 600 already. I mean, there's a couple days to go. So
what is it? 1,100 seater?
It's 1,093.
Yeah,
so basically 1,100.
Dude, I bet. Yeah. I bet you get a bunch of sales between now and Saturday, man. I mean, like I don't know any comedy show that sells more than half the tickets before the week of.
Right. Well, dude, everyone's like, the last week, man, sales are going to take back off. And then I've been watching them and been like, okay, let's take back off. But no, it just came about because, so I opened for Bob Marley from Maine.
Yep.
And we've done that show a few times. I've done open for him there a few times, and Foxwoods, and then Bill Blumenreich books or controls or whatever, the Mirage in Vegas, which I just played with Marley in the winter. So just sort of developed a relationship. You know, he guys sees that I work my ass off and likes people that, I mean, why wouldn't you like somebody that hustles that's not going to cost you a lot of money, you know? That's a perfect scenario to be in if you're somebody who has a room that sells beers and seats. I'm your guy, you know?
Dude, that's awesome. So what's it like playing a theater? I've yet to have the opportunity.
Well, that theater specifically is great. Some can suck and some can be great. The Wilbur, and I'm not just tooting horns here. The Wilbur is amazing because of how steep that rake is.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, but they're right on top of you. So you don't have like this big long, like in a big long room, you'll have to wait, and then the laughs like kind of come back to you a little slower than they would in a club. Yeah. But at the Wilbur, they're right on top of you.
Yeah, dude.
So
I mean, there's a reason that club has been filmed. I know at least 3 specials that have been filmed there in the last 8 years. So there's a reason.
It's comedy perfect, dude. It's literally perfect.
I know, especially for a local boy like you. Is it? It's going to be like the whole crew from Nantucket's coming out for this?
Dude, I think the whole island's coming. If that boat doesn't go, bruh. Oh man, dude! If you want to do crimes on Nantucket,
Saturday, January 4th or June 4th.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just buy tickets to the show and then go sail over to Nantucket and rob the place.
Yeah. Just ransack houses. Go in with like a sack and like one of those robber masks, like Hamburglar. Just rob the whole island blind.
Why did they have burglars wear those like weird masks like that back in the day?
I don't know. Like, it doesn't cover up any identifying features at all.
It doesn't work. It's like the Robin mask. Like you could clearly see who the fuck it is.
Yeah. Like, what color was his eyes? They're like, well, they were hazel, but he did have a black area around them that made me think for a second he might be a raccoon. And then I was like, no, that's a person. So dumb. But with a hat too, I think it was like if you're doing crimes in the summer, you want you want your face to like not sweat as bad, so you can't do the traditional ski mask. Yeah. You got to go goggles and then the beanie.
You need the skull cap,
the rubber beanie. Yeah,
I feel like if I was a burglar, I'd go with the like the full wool ski mask. Remember the ones from the 80s? Just have a mouth hole in the eyes. I go classic like that.
Dude, the best like mask to do crimes in is the nun mask from the town.
From the town was good. Yeah.
I
No, go ahead. I was going to say,
ahead.
I always appreciated too the stocking over the face. That one,
Yeah.
that one always was weird to me. Like,
Yeah.
the pantyhose on your head.
If you want to do a crime, but you also want to freak the people out on the way to the crime. Remember the kid? He was just standing there looking, and they go by with a gun mask and the gun. That kid's done. He's turned to a life of crime after that too.
There's a movie where that employed 100 Boston comics.
Yeah.
I feel like every movie filmed in Boston has to have at least 5 local comics in it. I don't know. There's like some. Yep. I don't know if there's a union involved. I don't know how this works out. Tony V's always in the movie. Always.
It's like you have to pay the toll. You have to pay the Tony V tax. If you want to do a movie in Boston, you put our legends in your movie, or you get the hell out of town.
I know that's the rule.
I was watching some show about like drugs on the Cape or whatever, like in P-Town or whatever. And the girl is all strung out and gets on the bus. Who's opening the bus door? Tony V. I'm like, dude,
yeah,
it's everywhere.
Him, Steve Sweeney, and Lenny Clark. It's like the mafia. Yeah, like they have. It's almost like they have to have no show jobs on a movie set.
Exactly. Yeah, you're gonna put my boy in the movie, but I mean, who deserves it more than Tony V though? I was so happy to see him opening for Bill Burr at Fenway.
Dude, I can't even imagine. I can't believe no comedian has performed at Fenway before.
That's insane, dude.
You know, like I would have thought Joe Rogan did that 5 years ago. Yeah, like because he was obviously could sell the tickets then.
Do you know how bad I got cucked? Or I did. I'm like, this is so cool for Boston comedy. One of us, you know. I'm like going with that narrative, like it's one of us. We're doing the Wilbur, and then 3 days later, it's like Bill Burr. Wham! Fenway. I was the guy in the corner of the room.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine having it like being Trump playing the Wilbur, but I guess the Fenway Park counts.
Yeah. That's how quick it lasted. I was like, I'm the man for like 3 minutes. And they're like, oh, pre-sales for Bill Burr at Fenway Park go on sale tomorrow. I'm like, it was a nice run, you know?
Yeah, but I can't think of any other Boston headliner who's done like local headliners who's headlined the Wilbur.
Nobody has.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like Dan Bolger or Corey. I mean, all the killers that are up there now. Even Lenny Clark, I don't think sold out the Wilbur, and he's been there for 40 years.
I mean, Lenny's a legend too. I mean, I'm sure they could. That's the thing is, I'm sure any of them could if they wanted to. That's funny. Like when I first started, you know, when we first told people we were doing this, and it was like, you know, the whispers of like, that guy doesn't deserve it. That guy's a middle act, dude. I hear everything. By the way.
That's
if you talk bullshit, shit about me, I heard it.
That's but I'm like, bullshit. I mean, like you are a headline. You have a headline set. I mean, you fucking crush.
Right.
Obviously, I mean, Mark Normand opens for Burt Kreischer at Big Arena. You know, like, and Mark Normand fucking does theaters on his own. Like, so it's not like, there's not an act out there bigger than you that you can't work with that'll get you out to more fans, get more exposure, which is ridiculous. You know,
but I'm like, you know. Like basically it's like, well, people talk about like what you deserve, you know what I mean? Like this person deserves that first or that person. I'm like, first of all, I could tell you 10 comics in Boston that I wouldn't want to follow. I would tell you, and I would be the first one to be like, dude, please put me on before them. And they easily belong in these type of opportunities as much, if not more than me. But it's like the old saying, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate, you know. And I just happened to be in a spot where I took a chance, you know.
I hadn't heard that one, but I mean that's true. Like I feel like you should take every opportunity you get, and if you're not getting the ones you want, it's worth it to try and make them happen. And I don't see the downside. I mean, you lose a little bit of money maybe, but like you know, you get to play you get to headline the Wilbur Theater, you know what I'm saying? Like any one of 100 other comics across the country could have attempted this and they just didn't, you know, like, I mean, like, it's just that simple. You just had the balls to give it a shot. He doesn't deserve that. No one's giving it to you for free. You know, you're putting yourself out there. You got to sell tickets.
And then people are like, oh, he just rented it because his family's got money. So he just rented it. It's like, well, you can't just walk up with like Joe Schmo can't just walk up off the street and go like, here we go. Like I've eaten nails for 10, 11, 12 years, whatever, to do this. for free. I feel like I've gotten to the point where I believe in myself enough to ask for it. It's not just like you can just show up and,
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course you can rent anywhere privately if you throw enough money at it, but but you're
like
trying
you
to
do it for your birthday party.
That's what I'm saying. Like any asshole with enough bread can rent out a building, but you're trying to sell tickets to it. It's not like you're going in there and throwing a personal bash. And also, let's back up, dude. I didn't even know your family had bread. Can I borrow $5? What's good?
No, I'm just
I didn't even know that, dude.
Bad connection.
No. I know, right? I've known you for what, 6 years now. That's fucking first. So
people think they know. People think they know, but
it's also like your family's money is not your money. It's weird. Like I mean, I know like some kids, their parents like lavish them with shit, but it's still like you said, you want to do this project. It's not like your dad was like, you know what, Brian, I think it's time for you to help, headline the Wilbur. Who the fuck does that?
People just, I mean, when I say that, I just say that because I come from Nantucket and people are like, that kid's got money, but I'm like, I was raised in a junkyard.
Well, that's the myth too. That's the myth too.
We come from nothing.
I know, dude. That's the myth too. I've been down to the Cape in the off season when the locals are hanging around. It's fucking meth country. There's a real weird misconception about some of these vacation towns off season. Yeah. Like the locals, like everyone who owns the bakery and the plumber. These are just regular fucking people on the island doing shit. Yeah. Like taking, fixing, mowing your lawn. Or mowing.
Right. I say, like, come visit me in March, and then tell me how good I have it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Tell me how great it is when everyone's just like, just the same 10 people hooking up with this other 10 people.
All inbred. Everyone's cousins on the island. Good thing you got off, dude.
Come talk to me about privilege when you spend 30 straight winters on a sandbar and then tell me how great it is.
It's also just a total cop-out. I mean, it's an excuse for why they're not doing the Wilbur. Like oh, this must be what happened. That's got to be it. It's not lack of effort on their part. It's some stroke of luck on your part. It's not like you've worked for it or you're taking a risk fucking booking the place. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really weird that people's first instinct is to poke holes when you're a good guy. Like, I don't see the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's not like you're one of the comic. I mean, believe it. Look, in every community, in every comedy scene, and every community, even non-comedy, like, there are people you like, people you don't, people who are a pain in the ass, and you're universally known as a good guy. So it's weird that they immediately go with like, he doesn't really, deserve that. This must be what happened. It's like, no, you obviously they've seen your act. You have the talent and you have the act for it.
Right.
You've never fucked anybody over that I'm aware of at all. Like, in Boston. So I don't understand. Like the first impulse is to shoot you down. I'm fucking pumped, dude. I wish I was in town. I'd be sucking your kneecaps for a spot on the show.
We got flights every day, bro.
No, you got some great open fucking old GM Poppy and my girl Janelle. They're great, dude. That's gonna be fucking so much fun.
The funny part to me was like, and I shouldn't even act like there's a lot of negativity, but just in the very beginning, people just talk. But like, I was so offended by it. I'm like, I feel like I've been doing this the right way, and I feel like I've been holding open as many doors as possible for other people. And any chance I get, I try to send the elevator back down, even if I'm just one floor above. And I'm like, damn, where does this come from? And then like, I still would, because the point of this is to break the mold so that you do it next year, or somebody does the theater down the street or whatever. It's not about like, I mean, fuck, I'm not going to say it's not about me because I'm doing this to advance my own position, but it's also for the rest of us. And it's not just Boston. It's like, oh wait, instead of like seeing somebody doing something you want to do and like shitting on it, be like, hey, like I want to rent the town hall, or like I want to do a show at the Fuddruckers down the street or whatever. Like, what'd you learn that I could, I feel like we're not each other's competition. We could just help each other out and we'll all blow up.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, my first thought was because no one else had attempted this, and it looks like you got good sell through so far, and obviously I'm sure you're going to crush it on Saturday. So I have to imagine that this will show to other comics. Oh, we could do this ourselves. Like what's to stop any 10 other comedians in Boston? Like, you know what? I got enough following here. I should do this. Like, it's
Right.
I would have taken it as a sign like, oh, I didn't know that was possible. You know, that's one more avenue. And
Right.
and I agree with you 100%. This is one of the few businesses I've ever been involved in. I'm just talking about the business side, where there's where it's not a true competition. Like, people that like my comedy can also like your comedy, or they can like either or none. It's not like the pie is finite. Like, maybe back in the 80s when there was only 4 network channels, and so many sitcoms everyone was vying for. Comedy now, it's like no one's like you could just build the bigger pie. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing stopping you from having your fans and someone else having theirs, and some of those crossing over and some of them not. Like, there's no reason. I mean, like, how many hours in a day are people sitting at their fucking desk listening to podcasts? There's a reason why Joe Rogan can do 3 hours, and so many other podcasts have tens of thousands of listeners a fucking week, millions of listeners a week. It's because there's plenty to go around. People are looking to fill time, and obviously the world's miserable, so people want to laugh. I mean, some people now are getting so fed up they're criticizing laughter, which is ridiculous. That's always my favorite when people criticize you for liking a joke, not even telling the joke.
I didn't even think of it. Laughing is an involuntary reflex. It's not my fault. I didn't know I was going to laugh either.
Exactly. I didn't know I was going to laugh either.
Yeah, but it was a surprise to me too.
I mean, but that's also the point of a joke. You're not supposed to know like where it's going, where the laughter's going to hit. Like, because if you know, it doesn't work.
This whole thing is like, I think we all take it a little bit too seriously, and I think it's supposed to be fun. And it's like everyone's like, "Are you nervous for Saturday? Are you freaking out?" I'm like, we're just gonna go talk about farts and like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna do the act that I have. I'm not gonna write
a
new hour.
I have a joke about farts, but like, I don't think I have a joke. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not solving world hunger up there. We're just talking shit for a little bit. Like, the stakes are pretty low for what we do. You know what I mean?
Bombing hurts. Hurts the comic, but no one's getting shot. I mean, hopefully, no one tries to run up and stab you like Dave Chappelle.
No, they won't. I don't even say anything controversial. I'm like the most vanilla dude ever. So, if anyone's gonna stab me after, I say this all the time. If somebody's gonna slap me or stab me after a show, it's gonna be my wife.
You got a lot of family material in the act nowadays.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not gonna get slapped. I'm gonna get divorced.
Yeah, just slap me with a lawsuit. That's about it. Slap me with a restraining order.
How long have you been married now, bub?
Ooh, I don't know. A couple of years, like since 2018. So however long that's been.
And how are the girls? And I mean, when I left Boston, you just had your first.
Yeah, so I have.
And you have your stepdaughter.
We have my daughter who's now 2.5. I have a 12-year-old stepson, and I have a 14-year-old stepdaughter. So we drink early too at our house.
Oh shit, dude! 14 and 12.
I should have a glass of tequila.
Yeah, no, you don't have any like fun. Well, I guess 2.5 they're getting fun now. But there was a time there you had 2 preteens and an infant. So, one of them,
why I drink.
Yeah, all of them only cared about themselves for very different reasons.
All of us. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, the tequila. Okay. Yeah, so it's 10 a.m. here. We're recording this early. Like I said, I had to call an executive board meeting with the staff at the Radio Set Blow podcast. Meaning, I just set it aside. I need to have Brian on this week, and so I started drinking early, Brian, because I got up early to do some Uber rides. I'm driving for Uber to make some money, during the day.
Yeah.
And I literally just picked up 2 women, a mother and daughter. The mother had to be approaching 80. The daughter was 40 something.
Go on.
And they're getting in the car with their cat, and they're like, I need you to drive as fast as possible, but as smooth as possible, because I don't want to disrupt the cat. We need to get her to the vet. And as they're getting in the car, these 2 women are fucking arguing, like a full fucking like bickering in my back seat.
Yes.
Oh, dude. We pull up to the fucking to the animal hospital, whatever. I pull in the front. They're like, no, pull around back. So I pull around back. They're like, no, pull around front. So I pull around front. They get out. She's like, hey, I'm just dropping off the cat. I'll be 2 minutes and then I'll come back and you just take us home. And this whole time, both the mother and daughter are having a complete bitch fest about like, you should have woken up earlier. What do I do? Who calls who? They had like, not only did they have the cat that had other bags in my car, even though they're just going right back home. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. They had me waiting outside of this place for 20 minutes, dude. Which is like enough to do, 2 more rides, in the Uber version.
In Uber time, that's a lifetime.
And they won't stop talking to me the whole time. The fucking work. Like I just want to sit there and bang through my Instagram and fucking
right
and not get involved in your shit little life. And then they finally come out. She's like, yeah. I was like, hey, I gotta go. It was 9:30 here. I was like, I gotta be back to my place by 10 to do the podcast with Brian.
Yeah,
I gotta go. They're like, oh yeah, we didn't know it was gonna take this long. We're still waiting. And I'm like, all right, but I gotta go. She's like, oh, should we cancel? I'm like, yeah, cancel. And then I swear to God, she spends 5 minutes talking to me about, please don't give me a bad Uber rating, this, that, and the third. I'm like, lady, I just gotta go. Get your shit out of the back of my car. Goes, oh, I'm sorry.
Take your dead cat. Take your feline aids and get the fuck out of my Civic.
Dude, yeah, I do have a Civic. Good call. I had to.
Dude, I'm like Miss Cleo, dude. I'm dialed into the light. That light up, like I got fucking powers, dude. I don't think I've ever been wrong when I've picked a kind of car for somebody or like what they do for a living.
Yeah, what about me makes you think Civic?
It just felt like a car that I don't know. It just can't.
Oh no.
This comes through me, man. This is like, I'm like a medium. I'm like a psychic medium for shit that doesn't matter.
That's actually a great game. And that's a good judge of character too. Like, what kind of car do you drive and what condition is it in?
Oh yeah.
Are you a messy interior guy?
Oh my God, dude. You can tell how much I love or hate myself that week, depending on what's on my passenger side floor. You can tell if I've had a good week or a bad week. If there's like Red Bull cans and like cookie wrappers and that kind of shit, then I'm like, I'm up against it. And then other times it'll be bottles of water or like
condom wrappers,
the celery stick. Yeah, it's either like Taco Bell and all that shit, or it's like the thing that the salad came in from Whole Foods. Oh, nothing in between.
I like minimalism. I don't have a lot of shit in my car. My car stays empty.
I bet it is.
I drive a piece of shit, but it's a clean piece of shit.
What color is it?
Just gray. It's a 2018.
I was gonna say dark, like a charcoal color.
Oh, of course. Yeah, charcoal gray. You nailed it.
Yeah.
I keep it simple, man. I'm not a flashy guy. Even if I had the bread, I've told people this. Even if I had $100 million, the nicest car I'd buy is maybe a BMW 5 Series, because I don't care. Like, it's not. It seems like there's better ways to waste my money.
Oh yeah.
Like I'd buy 2 planes before I buy fucking 3 cars. Like, because I feel like a plane, you get more.
I want to get a helicopter.
Yes,
I want to get a helicopter.
Dude, that's how you know you've really made it, if you can afford a helicopter, because it's as expensive to maintain as a plane. Even more so, but it only goes like short distance. You can't do a cross-country flight with a helicopter. Basically, you're trying to get from like New York to the Hamptons. That's about it. Like, that's the range you're trying to go here. And you don't want to do it in an hour. You want to do it in 20 minutes. That's when you know you have bread, and you landed on your own fucking lawn. Yep.
Dude, so I have a buddy he's got the fuck you money for real. And he put I don't even think he had a helipad. I think he just put some like glow sticks in his driveway in a circle, and a helicopter would land and pick him up, and it would take him back to Jersey, or it'd take him to Nantucket or whatever from his house up here on the mainland. And his neighbors were flipping out about it, obviously, and they like petitioned the town and all this shit. So he stopped getting helicopters, and then one Saturday morning he had his like iPod on, or like his phone on, the music like in the little rocks around his landscaping. Yeah. And they kept calling the police. So he went overseas for like months, but he set an alarm every morning at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. to start the Muslim call to prayer. And it played on every single speaker on the property. He had speakers installed, and it was like, like the full-on call to prayer every single morning at 4 a.m. And they kept calling the cops, and he wasn't even in the country, so he never got them.
That's a great gag, dude. That's one thing about fucking nice neighborhoods, man. Like you spend all that money to live in a fly place, and then your neighbors have say with what you do in your place.
Yep.
It's a fucking rack. Like if you live in Beverly Hills out here, you're not allowed to do shit. Like you spend like $12 million on a property that you can't paint certain colors. Your grass has to be a certain way. Your fence has to be a certain height. Yep. You know, you can't put up a detached garage because that's not what we do in this HOA. It's the biggest fucking rack on earth. I wonder, like, I wonder if there's a way I could be like on the HOA without actually owning a home, because it seems like a political position to get into.
You want your house, like, they say for real estate investing, you want to buy the shittiest house in the nicest neighborhood.
Yeah.
But if you're going to actually live there, you want the nicest house in the fucking ghetto, so that you can put like a moat around it or like a castle wall or whatever. You want to be like, dude, you want to be like Sandals in St. Lucia. You want just poverty, just abject poverty all around you, and then a lazy river once you get in the,
like Calcutta, just
yeah.
One billionaire and a bunch of peasants to serve him.
You want your armed guard in a lifeguard stand, just making sure nobody climbs over the wall.
There's not enough moats in home construction anymore. Where'd that fucking go?
See, I tried to build one during COVID because I thought it was getting serious. I might have gone a little crazy when the shit first started, and I was like, babe, I'm gonna rent an excavator. We're gonna dig a moat, and I'm gonna put like sharp sticks in there and stuff, so nobody comes to try to get our
some Braveheart
spaghetti-o. Yeah, for real. It was like Normandy Beach. It was gonna be like Normandy Beach out there, but then and I wanted to get guns, dude. I was getting all crazy about getting guns. I was like, I probably went a little AWOL, but then I like.
Is this at the new place in Nantucket, or is this the place you have in?
No, this is at my regular ass house out in the suburbs here, where I was just like, people are gonna steal our SpaghettiOs. We gotta fucking ammo up.
Did you get a gun?
I'm a crazy person. I mean, I'm a legit crazy person.
Did you get the gun? Like did your wife okay it?
Oh no.
That's a really. I mean, because if she said no, then you don't have the gun.
Oh, she definitely said no. But it's like, I was in that frame of mind where I was like, tomorrow, people are gonna be like fighting each other for food, and like, I was like, we need to arm up, we need to like get the kids ready for combat and stuff. And she was like, you're nuts. You are completely nuts.
Get the kids a little chainmail suit and some archer, bows and arrows. Like.
Put your bike helmet on, with like a knife duct taped to the top.
Whatever kind of medieval war you think is going to take place.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll be honest with you, man. During the pandemic, I don't think people appreciate, because I agree with you, I don't think people appreciate how close to breakdown society really is on a day-to-day basis. I remember this, fuck the pandemic. I remember this going back to 2008, because I was on Wall Street at that time. I was a fucking young hotshot banker or whatever. And we were exactly that. Yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street bullshit. And the economy was collapsing, and people were like, "Oh, if the supply chain collapses, like you don't realize in your grocery store there's only about a week's worth of food to serve that community." And if
they're buying at a normal rate,
exactly, if they're buying at a normal rate. Exactly. Yeah. And if the banks failed, like they almost failed in 2008, none of them would be able to buy or sell any goods, because everything is financed through a bank. You can't, all merchandise in this country, from the clothes on your back, to the food in your stomach, to the car you drive, to the gasoline, would stop moving if banks didn't, sit in the middle of these transactions. So, like, if the banks failed, we were a week away without food. I was like, we're really close to the social fabric collapsing globally.
Oh yeah. And when it falls all the way.
Yeah, dude, and that's
when that little thread snaps.
Yeah,
it's over.
Because the panic sets in, and then I said, you're right. You're I'm tougher than my roommate. If we're out of food and money, I mean that's his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then once I'm done with him, I got to go to my neighbor's house, and then I got to go to the neighbor across the street. Then I'm moving down the block. I mean, like, it's just. That's what it boils down to. And I love my roommate to death. He's one of my best friends in the world. But him or me, I'm cooking him. Let me.
Right. That's it.
I won't even wait till the end of the week. I'll have meat in the freezer. Like, you know what? I'm gonna just dive into the human early. If I break that barrier,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stockpile for the warm winters here in LA.
When I was like, when I was getting that real psychosis where I was like, when you're starting to be like, which one of my kids would I eat first? You have to start thinking about, but I just remember being like, sound the fucking purge horn.
You have to think start with the kids and not the pets.
It's easy. Yeah, dude, my bulldog's all fat. They're like eating me. That's a good thing, and nobody in my family would want to eat me because it's just, it's just like I'd be like a cheap ribeye,
No, you'd be good eating, Bri. Oh my god,
I'd marble up good.
Yeah, you'd be marbled and sexy. Fuck, dude, a little sage on a thigh, some thigh meat.
Real mark. 4 minutes aside down the hatch, salt and pepper heavily.
What sent you down that hole though? Like how far did you go? Like did you start edging into the QAnon stuff, the lizard people? How far did we go with this paranoia?
No. This is real in my head. It's real crazy, but it's real practical. So you know what I mean?
No, it's extra
because it's like real believable. And so we were home. I was on Nantucket, right? I was in San Francisco on March 9th of 2020. And like the place was a ghost town. And I was like, I should probably get home. But then we went to Nantucket for the weekend. So we're sitting out there and we're just like enjoying a weekend on the island away from gigs and all that. I was just I'm scrolling through my phone, dude. And I've never seen the video before or since, but it was just people in like Hong Kong or something in riot gear, just stuffing people back into their homes.
Oh my!
Like get out! And then I went to find it again, and it was gone. And it wasn't that I saw the video; it's that it was gone.
Makes it worse.
That made me be like, "Wait a minute!
Why don't they want us to see that?" Yeah.
So then I go the next morning. We were supposed to be there for a few days. I go, babe, get up. She's like, what? I go, I think shit's about to hit the fan. And she was like, you're being fucking crazy. I'm like, get in the car. We get up here, dude. I immediately go to BJ's, and you can feel, the pulse is just a little different. People are buying extra chicken, and all the shit's starting to go. So I got us enough food that day, and I got home. I was like, it was a zoo there, but it wasn't crazy yet. The next morning, we woke up, and it was pandemonium at all the grocery stores. So then that day, I go, well, these people are worried about food. I'm thinking if we get this, like nobody knew shit about the disease yet, right? So I go, if it's like a flu, then we need shit to lower our fevers. We need iodine in case we get a cut. Like I'm going to do battlefield amputations or something. So I go, while they're at their store, I'm going to CVS. I go to CVS, I get all the medicine. And as I'm leaving CVS, no word of a lie, like cars are coming in the parking lot, but I'm walking out with all my shit. So then that night and the next day I go, now everybody's going to be on medicine, going to get their medicine today. And I go, we have all this food. What if the fucking grid goes down? So I went to Home Depot and I got like grill tanks. Cause I'm like, we can just cook outside if the grid goes down.
Oh
so when
you're like a doomsday prepper now, dude.
But I'm like a doomsday prepper mixed with a door dasher. So I am, because you know what I did? I didn't want to go out and prep.
I know you're like prepping for the doomsday. Be like, I'm also lazy. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like I want to survive, but I'm not going to like dig a bunker in my yard. I'm not going that far. I'm going to go in the middle. I'm going to find a middle ground here.
You know how fat and lazy you have to be to doomsday prep on an app? You know what I'm saying, dude? So I go, everybody was fighting over food at the grocery store. They go, there's no food left. I went on my phone, dude. I go on Amazon or what is it called? Omaha Steaks. And I ordered like a whole freezer full of, like, we're eating like chicken cordon bleu. Like we're eating like all these different steaks. But
you're buying ammunition on Amazon.
Yeah. My wife's like, what are you doing? We don't have a freezer. I'm like, I guess we need a freezer.
Yeah. Start eating, babe. Fire up those propane tanks. Yeah. We gotta smoke. We gotta smoke some meat. We gotta smoke some meat in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Convert the shower into a smoker.
Yep. Yeah. Pipe.
It's so weird that's the I mean we all, dude. It's funny. Like on stage we can see like a microcosm of what that is. That sort of group think. Like otherwise normal, like you normal, I'm normal, but like you see people starting to panic. You're like, hey, wait a minute. Like I gotta get control of the situation here, and like other people's behavior makes you behave in a way you normally wouldn't. Like you start seeing other people freaking out. Like, what the fuck are they freaking out about? Like, and dude, it's like when you're on stage, like other people laugh, like when you got like rolling laughter, like so it's like a mass hypnosis in a weird way, and it's fucking hard. It's hard to break out of it. Like you said earlier, like laughing is involuntary, right? Watching people panic, some of that is involuntary. Like it's very much like a pack mentality,
Dude, the most dangerous animal on planet Earth is a scared human being.
Oh my God, I've said that 1,000 times, Brian.
And actually more scary than that is scared people.
Yeah,
like one scared person, you go, shut the fuck up, and you just go, and they go, okay, God, I'm sorry. You throw cold water in their face like a cartoon. Yeah. But a group of scared people,
they run into the Capitol and try to take it over.
Yeah, that too. They'll burn down a Target.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so funny, dude. During all this shit, everyone's like, oh, it's just big corporations have taken over. It's like, well, there was a Walmart, a Target, and then a mom and pop flower shop. Guess which one got the brick through the window at the protest? The little tiny place, little mom and pop place, and they break it down. And then who has to start selling flowers? Fucking Target and Walmart. You're like, well, we did this to ourselves.
I know. And I also like the excuse, like, oh, they have insurance. It's like, yeah, but that's not the point. It's still.
They also have a deductible.
Yeah. They could afford it. It's like, well, by that measure, I should rob everyone that has $1 more than me. Like they can afford it mantra is just fucking like wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter why. Like I mean, it's misplaced. And it's all fear. Yeah, and then it starts to what about? It's like, well, they did this, so we should do that. It's like, well, didn't your mother ever tell you two wrongs will make a right? It's like, well, they burned down a Target, so we should take over the Capitol. It's like that doesn't hold up to logic.
I mean, this is a little more grim than you would expect from me, but like I've been thinking about that lately because I'm so in the middle, and I'm like having 2 daughters and like seeing these women's rights starting to evaporate and stuff like that. Just like if we don't change course on that, then we're kind of fucking our next generation over of women, So I'm like, oh fuck, they can't be taking these abortion rights away. And then they start talking about like the gun rights or whatever. And then they're like, well, what happened to every life matters? And what happened? And you're like, oh my God, you guys, 2 things can be true at the same time.
Yeah, that's part of that is part of the problem. The fact that like people can't hold two ideas in their head at once.
Right.
It could be a life, but but what about like the rights of the mother? Yeah.
Oh, it was you
should have you're not gonna get a gun, but also, if a guy who's on people's radar has assault weapons, that might be a problem. Yep. They have a no-fly list.
Right.
we get the concept in one area and we can't apply it to another. I mean, same thing with abortion. Like, I don't want the vaccine, but you should do this with your body. It's like, well, all right. Like, come on, man. Like,
right. They can both be true. Like,
yeah,
women should have total autonomy over their own body and choices. But also, if you don't want to get a vaccine, you shouldn't be forced to get a vaccine. And I mean, you should at very least be able to see why people would feel that way. And if you can do that, then you're like, okay, so they both have nothing to do with each other, but they're still true. How is that possible? And you're like,
yeah. I had a very aggressive tweet like a couple days after the Texas school shooting. And I was like, which was a week after, 2 weeks after the Roe v. Wade draft decision came out. And yeah. I was like, all right, like if you can get an abortion with a gun, would both sides agree to that compromise? Like, which is a hard thing to say, Which is a hard.
The ideas expressed on the Ready Set Blow podcast
Or
are
mine
not
and mine alone.
those of their guests.
Not at all with the guests, but it highlights that exact point. It's like, where along the spectrum can you find any compromise? If both sides flip flop on their principle on each individual policy decision, like,
right.
You're like, it's like, oh, we want freedom here, but not there. It's like, well, then you don't want freedom. Neither side really wants freedom. They're both telling you what to do in different areas of your life.
Right. Telling you where you should lose your freedoms.
Yeah. So I took it to the extreme. It's like, all right, well, then let's give the most freedom with the most horrible outcome. and see if we meet there. Like,
I wonder. I mean, yeah, that's a. I wonder how that went over. Was that good? Did people?
It went over well on Twitter, and I knew better than to post. I've been in trouble. I've been in deep trouble on Instagram for the last 6 months. So I knew better than to post it there. That'll put me back in the shitstorm.
Have you been? You got your pee-pee slapped on Instagram?
Oh, dude, I've been shadow banned fucking 4 times in the last year, and I'm on a 6. Dude, I've been shadow banned now for 6 straight months, and it's tough. It's tough because that's where I was acquiring all my new, followers and people that like my stuff, and they just cut me off. And unfortunately, what unfortunately happened is I think at the end of 2021, they really tight, after Trump got tossed and all this shit happened, they really tightened up the restrictions. So now I got reported like fucking half a dozen times for bullying. Because what I do is I post responses, that. But so I post responses, but they think it's actually directed at the person, right. And I'm like, that's not. I'm not tagging anybody. Like it's just a comment on something I saw on Twitter. And also, I don't actually follow those people. Like I find all the shit I do on Instagram, so I just take screen grabs. It's not like I'm actually tweeting these things to people.
Right.
and
don't let the people behind the curtain.
I know it's also a joke. That's the thing. There's the algorithm got tighter. So like. No human beings actually looking at the shit that they pull down. Like you have to appeal it up to a higher court, and then some fucking pimple-faced 22-year-old in Bangalore, whose English is second language is the one deciding whether or not you get to keep the shit on the internet.
So I just got a community violation from Facebook.
You?
Me.
Dude,
because I shared. It looked like a ladybug, but if you zoomed in, it was the black guy on the side of the bed with a massive dong.
One of the best memes. Obviously, top meme of the pandemic.
So the 3 wise men. I said this: the 3 wise men of the pandemic were that dude, Joe Exotic, and there was one more. I forget who the other one was, but it was like those dudes got me through the thing. But I shared all the ones, but you had to zoom all the way in, and then it's like, guys, massive dong. But that was from 2 years ago, and they just did it. I go, if I get a community violation 4 days before the biggest show of my entire life, where I'm counting on promoting shit, and they shut off my Facebook, I'm gonna go to Seattle or whatever and burn that place down.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that they keep moving the goalpost. And they don't tell you until after you made the mistake. Like if I had known they were clamping down on bullying, I'd have worded my jokes a lot more carefully, so what didn't sound like directly towards the comment I was responding to, just in general. But they don't tell you, and there's no one to call. There's no customer service. I can't call anyone on Instagram and be like, hey man, what do I got to do to get out from underneath this? It's just it's straight up. They treat their users the way we treat terrorists in Guantanamo Bay. No legal representation, no hearing. That's just it. Somebody in a dark room decides we've had enough of you, and they just shut you off.
That sucks because your Instagram is awesome.
Oh, thanks, dude.
I just love that kind of humor. You would have liked this the other night. I had a Randy response I was at a bar.
Oh no.
This is unreal.
This is how you treat my
face. I basically treat my real life like your Instagram account, just how I respond to people. But it was Memorial Day weekend. I was back home, party weekend on
Nantucket. Fucking huge.
Getting a little old to be at the bars where everybody's dancing and stuff.
Fuck
so we went
that noise, Jack. Did you go to the Chicken Box?
I did, but that's not what the story's about.
That's a whole other adventure.
Yeah. So we went to like this dark bar. It's kind of like an old whaling bar back in the day, but we were in there drinking pretty good. And then they make fancy drinks. So they have a big tray of all the garnishes, but it's like celery and cucumbers and all the shit they put in these fancy drinks. Now I'm in the wrap, right? And I'm sitting at the bar going,
oh, dude, the olives and shit are a buffet when you're drunk. I don't want to hear any of that bullshit. That's that comes with the fucking drinks.
So this dude comes over, the bartender comes over, he goes, hey, pal. He goes, don't be eating that. And I go, let's get out of here. This salad bar sucks anyway. And the guy went from being so mad to calling another bartender over, and he was cracking up. He said the salad bar sucks.
Dude, I love that guy. There's not enough people like that in the world. That's the response that you want.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get people that take it serious. Like,
yeah,
I can't imagine taking that comment like seriously, being offended and not laughing at it. But there are people like, oh, what an asshole. He was eating the celery can you believe it? It's been sitting out there for 4 days.
Yeah. And before that, it was just in a walk-in cooler back of a truck or something for a month, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, you know how nasty. I mean, you've seen people close up a bar. They literally just put cellophane over the olives that have been sitting out there for 3 years. You know, they go, here's this milk, and they go like this. Yeah.
That's supposed to keep.
Yeah.
And then the next day, your kid's like, I go there with my kid, and I'm like, can I have a milk? And they're like, clump, clump, clump. Here you go.
Oh yeah. Well, I like to put them back like you do, Brian. And I've been to the bar early when it opens up, and when they pull the cellophane off the heads of the beers and they just pour one, and you drink that first hose hit, fucking that first, it's so gross. There's like fly larvae in the top of the beer.
Yeah.
It's like,
ooh, is this a?
Yeah,
is this a thorax? No.
I consider that brunch. I guess instead of eggs, I just eat fly larvae in my beer.
Yeah. Mosquito pupas.
Wow, you could call back to high school biology.
Yeah. I got a lot of references that most people don't get. I know a little tiny bit about a lot of things, but I don't know a lot about any one thing.
Were you like a good student? Shit, like what were you doing? Like you've been doing comedy.
I was a good
10, 12 years.
What's that?
How long you been doing comedy? 10, 12 years? Like what? How long you been doing it?
Yeah, 11.
Okay, 11 years.
11 years.
So like what? Like were you a good student? Like what'd you do? Like did you jump right into comedy? I never even asked you this.
No, I was like definitely smart enough to handle all the. That was a man's last sip right there. To handle all the schoolwork, I just didn't. And then I just went to work for my family. So I was like in kind of the construction trades or like construction adjacent. And then I didn't start comedy until I moved to Boston with my now ex-wife, but she was my girlfriend at the time because she had to finish some school at like Bunker Hill or whatever.
Oh, no shit.
So then
did you go to college?
No, hell no.
So good.
So she or did
you?
No, fuck no.
Good.
No
you didn't waste the
I
money.
went to a lot of colleges. Yeah, I drank at every college in the country at this point, it feels like.
I've been to them, but I didn't pay.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had a loan to go there. I just bought a ticket and went.
Yeah. Sally Mae got nothing off of me or whatever that student loan bitch.
And you were married before, dude? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Dude, I've been engaged 3 times.
Fuck, dude. Really? You're like J-Lo. Yeah. I don't know that many men have been engaged that many times. Usually it's like once or twice and they just give up.
Dude, when you look like this and you find somebody willing to lay next to you, you lock them down.
I think you're a good-looking guy, B-Glow. I do you. In prison. I'm in prison, not in day-to-day life.
I'll take it. Dude, if I was in prison, I'd be figuring out how to make the McFlurries out of the. You ever seen how they make they make a civilian food in prison? They crush up Oreos and figure out how to make ice cream in the toilet and all that.
Bro, that's one thing I feel like people aren't taking advantage of, the ingenuity of a prisoner. I mean,
right?
These guys blow out the toilet bowl and create telephones across cell blocks. They fucking they make bathtub gin. somehow they get cocaine. Yeah. Somehow they get cocaine and meth into prisons. You know, like I mean, like we need to hire these people for logistics problems. You know, this is a wasted resource.
So you know what I think you could do? I mean, this is just off the top of my head as we're talking, but I think that you could find drugs like synthetic drugs where each person just ordered one ingredient, like ayahuasca or something. You know, like you could be like, hey, send me these certain leaves. And then your other buddy down the block, you know, the cell block would be like, send me these sticks or whatever. And then once you get it, you mix it all up, everyone does ayahuasca, and then you're cured. Boom, all of a sudden you're not a pedophile anymore or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's not how ayahuasca works.
Ayahuasca cures pedophilia?
I bet it does.
Yeah, it seems to do wonders for everything else. I mean,
yeah, all you want to do is like have sex with a jaguar or something.
Oh, that's hot. Have you ever done psychedelics? You're not a big drug guy. Have you done psychedelics?
Yeah.
Really?
I've done a lot of mushrooms. Just mushrooms.
No shit, Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had about 3 million drinks together, but I've never smoked a joint with you, and I didn't know you were into the mushrooms. Dude.
Yeah.
I love mushrooms. I did a little bit last night. I was
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd gotten a little batch. I went camping this holiday weekend with some buddies of mine, and I had a little left over. And I was like, I got done with driving early. I stopped by the Improv, came back. I was home before 10. I was like, I got 3-4 hours I can kill here because I usually pass out around 2, typical comedian bullshit.
Right.
And I was like, I can finish off the bag, and it's every time it's just glorious. Are you like a big trip guy? Like how many grams we talking here? Are you doing?
No.
Or do you go in?
No, I don't go crazy. So full disclosure, I have these crazy headaches. They're called cluster headaches, and it's the most painful condition known to medical science.
Whoa, dude.
So I was like desperate to try to figure out how to get rid of them, and then I went online and people were talking about it's called cluster busting, and psilocybin mushrooms in small doses make like while you're having an attack, so it'll be the worst headache of your life, but every night for 6 weeks straight. And they call them suicide headaches. So you want to kill, like literally people kill themselves because they can't take it.
How long have you had this condition?
Since 2002.
Oh my God.
So but it's only every now and again, and it like happens sometimes with certain seasons or whatever, like going into winter or coming out of spring. So I was like desperate, and I went on these forums and everybody was talking about doing mushrooms, and this dude told me that his dad was like hardcore military and he never would take a drug a day in his life, but his dad had these same headaches. And one day his dad was on the bathroom floor screaming in pain, and he was like, just try it, Dad. So his dad goes, get me the fucking mushrooms. Did it and never had another attack ever since. The guy's lived like another 40 years without him. So I go, send them to me. The guy literally mailed them to me, which is probably not the best idea.
Oh, no. That's a great idea, dude. The U.S. Postal Service is underfunded and overworked. The U.S. Postal Service is the biggest drug dealer in the country. I've mailed, really? Oh my God. Through the U.S. Postal Service, I've mailed weed to other countries.
Really?
I mailed weed to Beirut. I mean, I don't know if that's a crime that I'm admitting to here. It was many, many years ago. Statute of limitations. So go ahead and prove it.
It was at least 7 years ago.
And also, go ahead and prove it. It's I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You can find the evidence.
Yeah, we're talking shit on a podcast. But because of that, so I did it real small dose. So the first day I did a small dose, didn't feel anything. The next day I did again small dose. Like a gram or whatever.
All right.
I don't even know what the measurement was.
That's enough to feel it. Like so now, like the hot thing is microdosing, or at least it is in Silicon Valley, where they do like 0.25 grams a day. So it's not enough to feel it, but like it's supposed to give you some benefit. But if you do a gram on an empty stomach, your pupils are going to dilate. You're going to things are going to come alive. Things are going to be bright.
So I did. So I was doing like probably a gram or under.
Yeah.
Each day. So you're supposed to do mushrooms for 5. I didn't realize you're supposed to do it 5 days in a row. I thought it meant do it for 5 days straight, like be like under the influence of mushrooms for 5 straight days. Dude, because I'm an idiot. I don't do a lot of drugs. So I was literally on mushrooms for 5 straight days, like tripping. And I would like be like, I got to keep going. And then like, so 4 days into it, I started upping the dosage because I'm like, if I'm going to eat all these mushrooms, I might as well feel what the fuss is all about. And then I started like, I was playing Trivia Crack on my phone. Remember Trivia Crack?
Yeah.
Where the wheel would spin. And the wheel spinning in those colors was the fucking happiest I've ever been in my life. It was just like, and then it got, you know, then I was like, let's go. And then I went in pretty deep. And then I haven't cried since. It fixed.
Did you have a big cry? Did you have a big cry when you like during the height of that experience?
No, it like welded something back together because I was going through a divorce at the time, and
oh man,
I was like really heartbroken, and I couldn't figure my fucking life out, dude. I was just kind of like this towny loser, you know, whatever, and it like fixed something in there that like, it sounds such a fucking hippie thing to say, but it like kind of put me on the right path, and it like fixed something that was arcing out in there in my own like shit that I was getting in the way of myself.
Yeah.
And it fucking changed. It literally healed something in me and changed my life.
Dude, that's a story. So I've turned at least 10, 12 people on. So I started the first time I did mushrooms in college. I was probably about 20, and then I did it once a year until I graduated college, and then I took a 6-year break, and then I did it, or 8-year break, and then I did it for the first time on my 30th birthday. It's same thing. I was in a weird spot in my life. I was getting out of my engagement, my marriage with a woman, and for my 30th birthday, my buddy's like, "Hey, why don't you drive? Come out to California. We'll drive down to Yosemite, spend a few nights camping, getting out there, and then when we're out there, mushrooms, dude, and it really does." Like I can't overstate enough how worth it is to people who haven't tried it. And obviously there's any drug, there's going to be a smattering of people who won't respond well to it. But I haven't met a single person yet that doesn't put their first trip up there with the top 3 experiences of their life. I just haven't. And in a weird way, during the pandemic, I in LA, I had a better, more consistent mushroom growth because it's LA and nobody gives a fuck about psychedelics. Right. I mean, it's not a thing out here to deal in them.
Right.
And I was doing them like once every 2 months. And it kept me from getting into the fucking panic mode that you were doing. And I put Jeff on. Jeff Dye's never done any drug in his life, and he's in love with mushrooms. It's one of those things that like I really do think it's so beneficial to most people. I'm stunned that we just spent 50 years not studying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, did it work for your headaches? Does it help?
Yeah, dude. Knock on wood, I haven't. I've had one episode where it was like, "Don't forget about me, motherfucker," and then it went right away. The headache went right away again. Thank God. But like, dude, I think about this shit all the time because, like, and I've said, I mean, dude, I would never delve into a gun control debate. Certainly but I'm saying like
not on this podcast.
But like we could like talk about the guns and all that stuff, and I'm like happy to have that conversation with anybody face to face. But like I really wish they would open up the subject of like guns, and also the fact that if you jump on the bed when you're 7 years old, they pump you full of fucking basically amphetamines and psychotherapy drugs. And then, you know what I mean? So like, can we have both conversations? And then I always think about mushrooms. I'm like, man, if they could harness that shit and do that instead of these powerful big pharma drugs, and like if somehow they like did like open it up so they could do the research on that, then maybe we wouldn't have all this fucking violence and people shooting each other and all that.
It really does crack. Like the thing about mushrooms, it like really cracks your brain in a different way. Like, I've taken Adderall in college and shit like that, and I have adult ADHD. I got diagnosed at 30, many years later. And these psychotropic drugs. Basically, Adderall is just giving your kid cocaine in a pill form,
right?
Over an extended period, over 15 years, they grow up or whatever, however long they've gone, 10 years,
right?
And the thing about mushrooms is one dose, one time, completely changes your view of the world and of yourself and your connection to other people. And yeah, you can do it more times after that and keep getting more out of it. But just the one is so much more. I mean, like, think about it. These kids take 40 milligrams, 60 milligrams of Adderall a day, 2-3 pills a day for years to try and help their lives. One mushroom trip can completely transform your view of the world and your view of yourself. And it seems way more effective.
It really does. But these big pharma motherfuckers run the whole country. So,
there's no money in it. Yeah. I mean, if Pfizer had the patent to mushrooms, to psilocybin,
but I was like,
you could bet your ass we'd all be on it. I mean, like, because they'd be making money off it.
Like, I just want to see a graph where it shows shows gun violence in this country, like especially perpetrated on schools by teenagers or older. I want to see the graph where those years got bad, and then I want somebody to lay the fucking Adderall prescription graph on top of it, and I want to see how close those things are to each other. I just want to know that information.
They've done that with SSRIs, and something like 75-80% of mass shooters have in their history taken SSRIs, Zoloft, Prozac, all these psychotropic drugs,
right?
Depression and anxiety, which begs the question: how effective are they? I mean, we've all seen the ads. Every one of these drugs, from Zoloft to Prozac, every one of them says possible side effects, suicide. You're giving a pill to depress people who are already thinking about killing themselves that could make them want to kill themselves. It seems counterproductive. Yeah. It seems really counterproductive.
Seems sketchy at best. But like everyone's like, the common denominator is guns. And it's like, yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, I won't argue that point. But another common denominator is these fucking Ritalin and SSRIs and these drugs. Like, you get, like, if you look at across the board, all these school shooters over the last however many years, I would venture to guess, and I shouldn't say this even out loud without knowing, but I would guess it's more than 80% of the shooters have been on those drugs.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, you're absolutely right. And it is weird they only pay attention to one side of it, but also the one side of it's not a non-starter. I mean, even if you ban every gun from being sold tomorrow, there's still 400 million guns in circulation. So what do you like? There's no so that avenue is closed. Like, you're never going to get rid of bullets. So maybe stop the people from shooting them. It's like sugar. It's like diet and exercise in this country. We have sugar. We have fat. You're not getting rid of them. So how are you going to how are you going to train the people from using them in a way that's not fun?
I should grab it. I should go grab a smoke for this part of the conversation. People are probably like, ooh, we'll tune into the Ready, Set, Blow podcast. Brian will be on there being silly, and we're like, the drugs and the.
No, I love it. I know, I love it. I mean, look, you've been on before, and we've had a great time. But when Chase still goes, shout out Chase Abel. He's got his own podcast. Cut to the chase. But the last two times you've been on, one of them is one of my favorite episodes of all time. I mean, still the funniest clip I've ever had from the show was discussion of Chase's mom spitting in his face.
I love that, dude. Can I just talk about Chase for a second?
Of course, we love Chase.
Me and Chase had one of the best nights ever. Like, I mean, I say this about you all the time, like top, probably, first round draft pick, Hall of Fame hang, as far as comedy people goes. But me and Chase had one night, it was freezing cold. I don't know if it was Christmas. It must have been just after Christmas or New Year's or something.
It might have been April. It might have been April in fucking Boston.
Me and Chase are hanging out, and then there was some girl who was hanging out around the club or whatever. And then we had her singing the national anthem, and Chase was recording my reaction to this girl singing, and I was just trying to hold it together. And we were just taking the ever-loving piss out of this, like basically everybody around us. But we made the girl sing the national anthem in an igloo in Worcester.
An igloo in Worcester, dude.
Like one of those igloo, those restaurant igloos.
Yeah. The COVID huts, the manger.
Yeah,
that's what I call them.
Yes.
Dude, that's one thing I do miss about the East Coast, man. The people back. I tell anyone when people ask me, like, oh, how do you like, LA versus New York or Boston? And I'm like, LA is paradise. I mean, there's a reason why the highest tax rate
Right.
in the country, crime's out of control, there's homeless everywhere, and people still fucking pay exorbitant amounts of beer. It's just every day is 75 and sunny. So something about that is worth all the other fucking trouble. But what I miss back east is the people. You don't get that kind of shit out here. You know, like just a couple of fucking towny pigs and an igloo in Worcester.
Yep. Yep.
You give them a few fireball shots.
Yep.
And it's just the entertainment that comes. Dude, I haven't seen a fist fight in 2.5 years since I've been here. 2.5 years. I couldn't go 2 fucking days in Boston without seeing a fist fight.
Yeah. Do you have Dunkin' Donuts out there? Because you once those start popping up, then you get suckered.
It's like Dunkin' Donuts are like methadone clinics. They might as well co-locate with them.
Yeah. What came first?
Yeah.
The methadone or the Dunkin'?
Yeah. You know how like Taco Bell and KFC sometimes in the airport will be like linked, like, they'll have like a Baskin Robbins and a Dunkin' Donuts. They should have a Dunkin' Donuts and a methadone clinic.
Yes.
It would work, dude. It would work.
Are there still methadone clinics?
Oh, dude, what are you talking about? The gutter boys keep them alive in Boston alone. Oh, Kenny Capozzi and Tommy O'Deed. Those guys. Is Tommy still around? Is he? I know Kenny's still with us. Is Tommy still around?
I think so.
Okay. I thank God. I just don't want those guys to die. But again, guys like those, they're like cockroaches, dude. You couldn't kill them if you tried.
Dude, I don't want to say bad stuff about those guys.
No, I'm singing there. You could play this full. I'm singing their praises, man.
Okay.
Tommy came out. He got new teeth, because he lost a bunch of his teeth. This is probably like a year before I left Boston. Tommy O'Deed came out with a brand new set of teeth. And bro, it looked like Gary Busey, like chiclets, because they were so he had new veneers and they were just so white and straight.
Like a row of urinals.
Oh my, yeah, exactly. He got abused for a week by every comic that followed him that I saw about his teeth. And he took it like a man, which I love Tommy. Shout out Tommy O'Deed.
Remember Something About Mary when she's like, I like a guy with a full mouthful of teeth, and he's like, has a huge veneers.
Dude, that movie, talking about another movie filmed in the New England area. Steve Sweeney was in that one, I believe. And
yeah, of course he was.
Yeah, I think Tony might have been in that one too. No,
Lenny was in it.
Lenny was in it.
Yeah.
But dude, there's the scene in that. There's a scene in that movie with what's his name? Not the guy with the teeth. What's that actor's name?
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon. Yeah. So there's a scene where Matt Dillon is hitting golf balls, and they're in the parking lot, and he first meets Cameron Diaz. Do you know this scene where he talks about working with retards?
Yeah.
I know I can't say the word, but that's the word that he said in the movie. So I'm quoting it here.
Mm-hmm.
I once every 2 months, me and my boys will send it out in a group chat just to remind each other how fucking funny that scene was.
Oh yeah.
And the problem is you can't recreate that scene today. That movie was made like 20 years ago, and there's no way you could approach that joke today.
The fact that they address that so funny, because she goes, don't you think that's a little politically incorrect? Like they're letting Cameron Diaz off the hook for even being in the scene in the first place by having her go, don't you think that's, and he goes, hey, nobody's going to tell me who I can and can't work with. Those goofy bastards are my life.
They'll enlighten my life.
We got this one guy, Mongo. He's got a forehead like a drive-in movie theater. He's a good shit, so we don't bust his chops.
The thing about that joke too is you couldn't recreate a movie today because no fucking film executive would allow it to make the pass first cut.
Yep.
But the gist of that joke is pro special needs. Like
right?
He's a stupid mook, but he's like, hey, you can't tell me who I can and can't work with. Like he's pretending to like the guys at least. Like. You're like,
I feel like I should be offended, but he's like half sticking up for people. So I'm like, I don't even know what to be mad at. So
exactly. Cameron Diaz makes him addresses being offended, and he's like, hey, you can't tell me what I can't work with. He like doubles down on. Now he's offended that she's the one bringing it up.
Yeah, so good.
It's fucking genius.
Yep.
Oh, dude, we're about an hour. And you want to get some news real quick, and I'll let you go.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. As always, I get my news from the best source, the New York Post. The Milky Way galaxy has 4 malicious alien civilizations that could attack Earth, according to researchers. Albert Caballero, a PhD student at the University of Vigo in Spain, authored a study in the International Journal of Astrobiology earlier this month, in which he claimed he pinpointed the so-called WOW signal. The signal, which was first detected by a radio telescope in 1977, was a strange minute-long burst of radio energy that may have originated from the sun, from a sun-like star 1,800 light years from Earth. Caballero's paper, which is entitled "Estimating the Prevalence of Malicious Extraterrestrial Civilizations," has some limitations, he admitted. But he's warned scientists to use caution in using the practice of messaging extraterrestrial intelligence for fear it could provoke an alien invasion. He conceded the odds of extraterrestrials wiping out humans is small, given that it'd be tough for them to get there. However, based on the 100 million light year size of the universe, he estimates there to be 4 to 6 deadly alien civilizations living among us. Dude,
well, see, I got some problems with this.
Yeah, so I've been asking guests lately, because I love conspiracy theories as a topic, but I don't think all of them hold water. And I want to know where you come down on this alien conspiracy theory to start. I'm
gonna tell you this. First of all, we're armed to the gills over here from COVID, so they don't want to fuck with me. No, I'm just kidding.
You got a harpoon in the house. It'll be fun.
Yeah. But we have a moat, so no. They
got sharp sticks in it, so when they fly their saucer and walk over the moat.
They have those big eyes, dude. Could you imagine they come all the way here and you just get them with a sharp stick in the eye and they go fuck this and they leave?
Just blow some sand in their face and it's over.
Like, anyways, the problem I have with this whole thing is if there's messages going back and forth, there's like light years worth of delay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like we send out a message today that goes, "Hey, aliens, if you're out there and you want some smoke, fucking planet Earth, you know where to find us," right? And you hit send, but it takes a light year to get there, and then they read it and then they come back at us. All of us are long since gone. It's a totally different civilization here, and they come attack us, and those people are going, "What the fuck did we do?" And they show the message that says, "Come get these hands," but it's 2 light years old. I feel like we're fucking up future generations. That doesn't seem fair to me,
dude. I mean, that's the thing about alien life that I've discussed before. It's like, obviously, mathematically, it has to exist. The universe is so big. Question is, did it get here yet? And then my third question is, if it's malicious, like, why haven't they fucked us up already? I feel like they're looking at us like it's a zoo. Like, oh, look at.
I'll tell you why.
It's like a kid. It's like a kid with a fish tank, and he just pokes in the bowl. I feel like that's kind of how they're treating us. If they're,
I'm an expert at this. So fucking buckle up.
All right.
They're so far away. Great. They can do interstellar travel quickly. Okay, they've solved that problem. Then they get all the way to Earth, right? And they show up here and they get off the ship, and our air that we breathe that gives us life is fucking poison.
Straight up poison to them.
There's nothing, just because they're out there doesn't mean they can breathe the same shit as us. They're probably breathing, liquid mercury or something like that on their planet, and they treat it like it's oxygen. Then they get here and they die. Simple.
Also, what's to say? I mean, our diseases killed all the Native Americans. What's to say we won't wipe out them too with this shit?
Right.
Dude,
what if they get here? They get monkeypox and they fucking all die.
Yeah, that's the new one. I feel like the aliens stop by. It's just to pick up drugs and then leave. We're like the crack house of the galaxy.
Dude, what if we are the drugs? And they whatever they're sucking out of us, or like probing our. What if there's like good drugs in our eyeballs and they're probing us and taking the.
This is where the far right comes in. The QAnon conspiracy theories. They might be the lizard people that are controlling the world. That the shapeshifters.
Dude, it's like if it is that far fetched that like there's lizard people, then the whole everything we know is just going to crumble. You're like, why did it? What? I just don't understand how far these conspiracy theories go. It's like, it's plausible to believe that there's other life forms out on other planets, but like it really is not that crazy to think that they'd get here and our air would kill them.
Yeah, and it's not. But and also it's what I don't understand about any conspiracy theory is when you don't tell me the why. You know, like I get how there can be a conspiracy. It's not conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy if it's proven true. We've had conspiracies before in this country and in the world. But somebody benefits. That's the thing about flat Earth. It's like, what money is there to be made by anybody claiming that the Earth is flat? Who is making more money because of that? Who is gaining out on? Somebody has to benefit. You know, I was talking about.
Anybody that believes the Earth is flat?
No. I mean, I don't know anybody personally, but Kobe and not Kobe. He died before that. But Kyrie Irving.
He found out the hard way.
Yeah, he found.
I didn't feel good about that, just so you know.
That might have to be clipped. It's so good.
Yeah, it was right there. I don't believe that. Just so you know, I hurt my own feelings with that.
All right,
so,
fair enough. No,
and you live in LA, so you should delete that.
I know, right? I could cancel myself.
Yeah.
No, but I've met there's celebrities who believe this shit, and I was talking with my buddy last week about it. He posted a joke about Holocaust deniers, and Holocaust deniers bombarded him in the comments, and he's like, that's the thing about the Holocaust. Like, I don't get why people would deny it, because ostensibly, if you deny it, you have a problem. Right. You have a problem with Jews. So wouldn't you then want to claim the Holocaust? Like, he's like, it's
right.
Like where's the benefit in denying that? Denying the Earth is not. What satellite companies are making more money because the Earth is flat? Like, I get how JFK could have been killed by more than one person. The mob had problems with CIA, had problems with that. That one, I believe, has legs.
Dude, that was such a junior varsity level conspiracy compared to today.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the leap they're making.
That was like nothing.
I mean, Copernicus solved the round Earth problem 600 years ago. Like, we're relitigating that. That's the weird part about this day and age. We seem to be going backwards in our progress. They're getting rid of the abortion rights thing. Somehow we've had access to guns for fucking centuries in this country, but only now we're killing each other with them. It seems like we're going backwards in the progress that we've made. We're turning back. Dude, I feel like race relations were better 5 years ago than they are today. Somehow something going on in culture right now is causing all of us to forget all the things all the progress we've made in the last 40 years.
Well, they need us. I mean, they need us separated. They need to crank up they need to turn up the dial, turn up the heat on every issue, because it's taking more and more to divide us now, and they need us divided so they can take a third of our paycheck without us asking any questions.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They need us to not, it's all smoke and mirrors, and they need us divided because together we would all stand these people are burning down the buildings and protesting. It's like, we should all be protesting together. The fact that we aren't shows that we're getting played. We're getting fucking played.
I mean, the level of distraction is alarming. I mean, obviously we have bigger fish to fry, but they have us fighting over the stupidest little shit as they run away with it. I mean, there's a reason why certain problems never get solved. Like, I was stunned that they're going to overturn Roe versus Wade, to be honest, because if they lose that, they lose an issue that their voters vote on. I would have thought conservatives would keep talking about undoing it and not actually undo it, because they could just keep their voters showing up to the polls. They don't actually.
Hey, Randy, my worlds are colliding here, and my son just came home, so I'm gonna jump.
All right. We'll wrap it up.
We'll have to do it again.
We will do it again. I want to hear how the Wilbur went, and obviously, I don't want your son to hear the filth that's gonna come out of our mouths. But June
exactly.
4th, Saturday, June 4th, Wilbur Theater, Brian Glowacki. Please go out and check him out. I would be there if I could. What else do you want to promote, brother?
That's it. Just
at B Glow Comedy on all platforms, right?
That's it. Yep.
Follow Brian Glowacki at B Glow Comedy.
Thanks, buddy. Sorry to cut it short. We'll see you.
No worries, bud. Love you, man. Check you next time. Thanks, guys. Peace.